Alrighty, y'all. Well, welcome back. We are here. We are here, and we're here in a world that feels like it's filled with turmoil and chaos. And today we're going to be talking about how to recognize what your nervous system needs during a time when we may not know what we need outside of just safety at this point. So we're going to be kind of talking about that, covering some topics from our last session, the sensory present and remembered past. So
yes.
I think today should be a pretty interesting one.
Yeah. And we have a lot of, well, first of all, we just want to kind of set the intention.
Yeah.
And Gail and I were talking earlier, and I think just kind of setting this intention of what we want this episode to be covering and what our focus is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that for me in my sessions right now, in group sessions, in classes, and it would be remiss if we didn't talk about this and we just tried to go on in our day-to-day existence. So I think that's something that is part of my intention, is to really just give honor to any nervous system's regulation style right now. So if there's some of you that are numbing out, if there's some of you that are avoiding, if there's some of you that are fighting, that are leaning in, all of those are telling a story. And so my intention is to just bring awareness, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it would also be to like find your threshold, right? Like what might be my threshold may not be somebody else's threshold. So maybe scrolling online and watching videos is something that allows me to stay aware of everything. But maybe for somebody else that has a different processing style, the visualization of the videos, it might be on a loop in their mind and they might perseverate. So really knowing what's yours is yours, and what is somebody else's limit is going to be based on their nervous system. So those are two things that I would love to bring in. And I guess lastly, just humanness. I think, just humanness and maybe awareness of our privilege in here.
Absolutely. And I think, just kind of, as we go into this episode, we're really thinking about like what's happening in our nervous system and how we don't need to normalize harm that's taking place.
Yeah.
Right? And that, in these situations, we can't confuse regulation and say that to be regulated is to not have sadness or shock or, disbelief, grief, anger, rage. Like all those emotions are extremely valid, and that is not bad, right? The dysregulation, we often hear about regulation and dysregulation.
Yes.
And when you're in a crisis and you're in like such a destabilizing time, like right now, the body really has to go through those responses in order for pressure to be released. It's like a pressure valve being released. And we think about like crying, right? And it's that you're releasing that pressure out of your body, and it's doing the natural thing it needs to do.
Right.
Like when your tears, have cortisol, and when you cry, it's a natural antidepressant. And so we're not stopping that process.
Right.
We're really leaning into the grief and the shock and the disbelief and the anger. And the anger is the mobilization of our body. It's saying, this is not right, and we need to move forward and do something, right? And then there's the shock and the disbelief is, I can't believe this is happening right now.
Right.
And we're kind of in this state of constant dysregulation and going through this cycle.
Right.
But we don't want to pathologize that. We don't want to say that this is something that needs to be controlled, because this is not about that, right? It's about, when someone is uncomfortable with feeling discomfort in their own body, then the response they have is often to shut down,
shame,
numb themselves,
right,
shame themselves, disconnect, and they don't allow other people's nervous system responses to exist,
right,
to be heard, to be seen, to be, again, released out of the body, the pressure valve that we're talking about.
right.
And so that's what I'm thinking about as we're kind of going into this episode.
Yeah.
Is how do we allow that natural part of ourselves and the humanness, as you said earlier,
Right.
to come out during times of distress, destabilization, and shock.
Right.
And allow that to be normalized instead of normalizing the shutdown, the dissociation, and the disconnection from our body.
Oof, that's I think so well put, and I think there's a couple things that I want to just kind of pull out from that. One is how normalized it is for us as a society, as humans, to shut down and just go with it, right? Just maybe be pacified, and how dysregulating that will be for so many individuals that actually don't have the capacity to shut it down. Maybe so much of their natural rhythm is to externalize and to allow for this release, right? I think about, I'm going to make this a little personal and share something personal with you all. So my sister and I, growing up, she was very expressive, right? And I was the opposite. So she would express her thoughts and her feelings about what was going on, and that wasn't responded to in the best sort of way. So I learned early on, don't do that. But what I really learned was that boundaries and self-expression of emotion, aka what might look like dysregulation, is a bad thing, right? You're supposed to regulate and be really controlled and modulated, and then you'll therefore get respect. And so I think that's so much of what I'm hearing you say is that different folks are going to be responding to this experience in different ways, and a lot of times we learn what's right and what's wrong in a very binary state when we know that there's a spectrum of what's appropriate. And what we're trying to do is normalize that expression, tears, anger, verbal sharing of whatever you're processing needs to actually exit the body. And that's something that is a very healthy response. And then we could also look at how do we do that responsibly, right? Because there's obviously, we're not going to take a bat to, a storefront, right? But maybe I need to take a bat to a pillow. Maybe I need to go out and join some marches, but I need to extricate all of what's happening in the energy of my nervous system right now.
Yeah. Well put, absolutely. And then, we can go to rage rooms, we can do things with intention. To get rage out of the body is also really important.
Yes.
Like you're saying. Yes. And it's like that rage is the pressure being released.
Yes.
And so if we think about all this pressure that's built up in the body and the nervous system is housing all this pressure, it has to come out somehow.
Yes.
And the people that are awake and consciously aware, they're more connected to pressure release than the people that are dissociated and shut down. And the people that are awake and consciously aware are more connected to discomfort in their body, to have, that connection to the hell that someone might feel in their body, and not push away from it, but go through it to be almost metabolized, right? And allow that process to take place in the body.
Right.
And so when we do that, we really just allow for freedom of expression. We allow for the decompression of the nervous system. And it's so important, especially right now, where a lot of people are feeling so helpless, right? And we're watching this unspeakable tragedy happen, and not just one after the other after the other. There's dehumanization happening. There's, treating people in such a way that, you don't even have words for it.
Right.
And just letting all these things sink in, it really does take a toll on our nervous system.
Right.
Right. And so just being mindful of, okay, we're allowing this to be metabolized.
Right.
And then we're also allowing for the movement to happen. Where is it going? It's coming in the body, and then it's being expressed like through the pressure release.
Right. And maybe that's the question for all of us to be asking, is it moving in my body, or is it getting stuck in my body? Am I metabolizing it? And I also want to hit on this other point that I think we're also talking about is there's the people that are expressing it, that are comfortable, that are attached to the feeling, and then there's also the people that are disconnected or disassociated from it because that's their natural nervous system's response, is to disconnect or is to numb out, and oftentimes these aren't even conscious choices.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
yes.
This is just an automatic response from the nervous system over time of perpetuated harm or violence or lived experiences. And how alone both can actually be, both can actually feel. Because if we have the person that is outraged and it's expressing it, and they're looking around in their world and they're saying, nobody in my circle is seeing or feeling these things. Is there something wrong with me, or like what's wrong with them? And how do I maintain these relationships if they're not seeing it through my eyes?
Yeah.
And then we have the individual that may not have the capacity or is disconnected and is watching their friends react. And what kind of loneliness are they potentially swimming in as well?
Yeah.
On a personal level. So I love that we're kind of bringing in two different sides, where it feels a little bit like I'm bringing in the relational component and you're staying within the body. This is what's happening, and this is how it's manifesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I love what you said about the relationships, right? Because oftentimes when we're in crisis or we're in these types of situations or we're witnessing something horrific happening, we feel so isolated.
Yes.
And we feel isolated in different ways, right? There are people that feel isolated because they've been so disconnected and so shut down.
Yes.
And maybe it's out of survival that they've had to do that. And maybe now they're becoming more awake or more consciously aware of wow, what's happening around me? Right? And we have the people that have been consciously awake for a while, and so their ability to experience the pain and the grief is high.
Yes.
And they feel it, right? When you're not shut down, you feel it more in your body. You feel the presence of it, and you don't run away from it. Viola Davis gave an amazing speech, and I saw a clip, and I shared it on Instagram, and it was just so moving because she's talking about how, I don't want to misquote it, but it was the greatest hell or tragedy is to kind of get to the end of your life and meet the person that you could have been. Right? And it just hits so hard.
Right.
And we have an opportunity to meet the person that we could have been and make that person a reality by going into the pain, by, looking at what's going on, staying awake, acknowledging that there is harm unfolding around us.
Right.
And that conscious awake, conscious alert, conscious awareness is really the key to going into the darker, deeper parts of ourselves, which are often mirrored in situations like this.
It's really interesting because as we're talking about this, I'm thinking about my earlier years and being disconnected, right? Like I was kind of on that other end of the spectrum and, not realizing that I was so disassociated all the time.
Oh, me too.
Thinking that I was just really anxious or, in my head. And I think we have a lot of slogans for what that looks like and what that feels like. But, the point that I'm hearing you talk about is to connect to the pain, connect to the pain. And I think for a long time I was connecting to the solution, not the pain. And not saying that if I connect to the feeling will give me the wisdom to know the right solution for my nervous system, the right solution that will take me back to who is Gail, right? And I'm not saying like live in the pain. I think what we're really saying is acknowledging the harm, the pain, and walking through that channel, walking through that cave, walking through that tunnel, because on the other side, you're going to give yourself back what you didn't get, which is the validation, the understanding, and AKA the connection, so that your threshold is changed, and so that you can actually be receiving others when they're telling you about their pain.
Yes.
Right? So I think it goes back to being maybe on the other end of that conversation where maybe someone's expressing themselves and they're feeling shut down by another person. It's not that this other person isn't connected to you. It's that they're not connected enough to their own self and their own pain, that the pain that you're expressing, there's an automatic defense mechanism that is taking them further and further out of the room, and they can't hold the space because they don't have the tolerance to engage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't have the tolerance to engage and the tolerance for discomfort in their own body.
Yes.
And we see this a lot with, we see it with grief. We see it with when people are going through grieving situations and someone says to them, well, it could have been worse. Right? We've all heard this.
You should be just grateful, or there's a reason for it. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah. These invalidating statements, which are really about the person's tolerance for discomfort in their own body.
Right.
And so to make themselves comfortable, what are they doing? They're dismissing, they're minimizing the pain because allowing it to exist means they have to acknowledge it. And if they have to acknowledge it, they have to know what to do with it. Right. And often we feel very defective. Why? Because we've been, given a lot of information throughout our lives that have told us otherwise.
Right.
That have told us, we've learned these kinds of behaviors. We've learned that, what do you say when somebody is grieving?
Right.
Do you go into the pain with them? Well, you don't automatically, if your nervous system has prioritized, push away any discomfort, push away anything uncomfortable.
Right.
Keep yourself in this space where nothing can kind of go through.
Penetrate.
Nothing can penetrate.
Right. And they can stay intact.
Yes.
So it allows them to stay intact. So it's so funny. I was just leading a CBT group just before I got here, and we were talking about cognitive distortions, and we worked through like a thought record, and CBT, very, very, very simplified, is your thoughts and cognitions impact the way you feel, which impact the way you engage or act, right? And we were completing a thought record, and I said, what if we flipped it? And you're looking at yourself, but what about not just analyzing your own distortions and how, am I seeing this black and white thinking? Do I have a mental filter on the way I see things? Am I catastrophizing this? What if you flip the script and you ask that about whoever it is that you're having a situation with? Are they seeing me with black and white thinking? Are they experiencing this? Because it's also helpful to not fill in the gaps of whatever you're receiving from somebody else, because maybe they're having their own experience where they can't tolerate the way something is presenting to them.
Absolutely.
And I think that's kind of what we're talking about, is that everybody has their limits, right? Our job is to know our own limits and to not step inside somebody else's when they might have a distorted perception of what you're experiencing, and be able to hold that boundary and recognize that what I'm feeling in my body is what I'm feeling in my body.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be minimized. It doesn't have to be changed. The shape doesn't have to change. Like, nothing has to change about it. It just needs to be allowed to breathe.
Oh, I love that. And I almost get this visual of like, it doesn't, the shape, do you say the shape doesn't have to change?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's within you.
Yeah.
It's within you.
Mm-hmm.
I think then it's also like, well, how do I express it? How do I express it? And what's my responsibility?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other person's responsibility in that?
Yeah. And really honoring where is someone's nervous system, you know, because you can't put them where they need to be or where you want them to be. You can only witness where they are. And sometimes witnessing is one of the most powerful things, right? We think about like the grief, and it's like, you know, I saw Matthias Barker make a post about this, and it was just wonderful. And it was talking about like, if you have depressed friends and they're going through depression, don't try to, you know, call them or text them and ask them, how can I make it go away?
Right.
How can I make you feel happier? Go to their house, bring brownie batter and make brownies together, and play a video game or watch a show and just sit across the table or next to them on the couch.
Be human.
Be human. Be human. And he did such a beautiful job with that, because it's just allowing yourself to connect through the humanity piece, and we're not trying to fix. We don't need to fix. We
Take
need to
that
witness.
out of our mind.
Exactly. Take it out of your mind. Be present. No fixing. Fixing is logical. Fixing is finding a solution. Fixing is the brain saying, I need certainty. Certainty is not necessary during times like that. Presence is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we think about like, what's my responsibility? It's to witness. It's to hold space, right? And most importantly, not to fix. I don't know about you, but when I got into this field, I thought that was my job. I thought I was going to be fixing people. And, well, let's call that out. That's just fucked up. But essentially it was codependence. Yeah, it was fucked up. But so much of it, what I started to recognize was that, again, I was dysregulated seeing somebody else dysregulated. And so it put me in a place, right? We're talking like 10 years ago, where put me into a place where it was like, if I'm hearing somebody distressed, I have to take them out of that distress. That's not our job. That's not our job when we're witnessing somebody sharing about the shape of their pain.
And if you grew up in situations where your nervous system learned, I need to regulate this person in order for me to be safe, you're going to be more likely to want to be a fixer.
Right.
And because the fixing is not just about fixing the person in the ways that you think you're fixing them, it's about bringing safety back to yourself.
Yeah.
And when we let go of this compulsion to fix, we let go of this need to have the certainty, and we allow ourselves to exist in that gray space where we're not in that extreme black and white thinking, and we're allowed to be in this gray, in the in-between. We see this with letting go of the fixing mentality.
Right. And I love that you bring in that word compulsion. Because again, and that's really my hope in all of this, is that we're not demonizing one behavior over the other. But I think the idea for me is for us to be illuminating the natural humanness of these reactions as adaptations.
Yes.
And so we're all just a sequence of adaptations. And the more we become consciously aware of the adaptations, which behaviorally on the outside look like behaviors, we could see patterns, but what we're really saying is on the inside, it's just the nervous system that's directing the whole show. It's kind of like having dinner with a friend and making the assumption that they're hungry because you scheduled for dinner, or you both plan to not eat, right? Or you plan to be hungry by the time. But I think what we're really saying is, how can you be aware of somebody's nervous system? Maybe they're not hungry. Maybe they are hungry, But that might be a natural question that we ask. I know for me, if I'm meeting somebody for dinner, I'm like, well, how hungry are we? Or do you want to do family style? Or like, what do we want to do? Apps?
Yeah.
Where are we at in that? And like, what if that just became the natural part of your experience with another person? Is like, if I feel wronged by somebody, what's going on in their nervous system? What's going on in my nervous system? And how are our nervous systems actually having a conversation together about this in ways that I don't even recognize?
Yeah. That's beautifully put. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's like the nervous systems we're communicating.
Right.
And we communicate unconsciously, right? And when we're in a room with somebody, we can kind of gravitate towards the person that we can have patterns with that make our nervous system feel just the way it has felt for a long time.
Yes.
And sometimes in the face of challenges, we can challenge ourselves to do a different dance. See what it feels like in your body to not shut down. What does it feel to let some pain in? We're not saying let it completely consume you and take over everything.
Right.
I think that's the fear, right? The fear is that if we let the pain in, it'll be like a wave and it'll drown us.
Right.
But our body has a process of elimination. And when we respect that process, we allow the pain to metabolize through the body and we get that pressure release.
Right.
And it's going to happen. It's not going to be, you're not going to be in the pain forever. And I think that's the fear of a lot of people in those situations.
You're painting out a picture, and so I think visually, right? So what I'm interpreting, I'm processing it, but I'm processing it in images almost. And I think about it, and I just say that to throw that out there. But what I'm hearing though too in that is that maybe you can recognize when your system goes into shutdown and when that was. And when your system goes into metabolization, when it starts to throw that out of the body, what does that look like?
Yeah.
So even if it's just, and I say even if it's just like it's a small thing, but I think it's actually a very powerful mechanism to just notice when you're hitting your thresholds, to learn what your thresholds are, to learn what the shutdown looks like for you. Oh, I hit too many videos today, or like this morning, I woke up, first thing I did is I was scrolling through Instagram and then realizing, oh, I need cat videos right now, or hamster videos, or I need something right now to bring me back down or take me out of this reality.
Yes.
All of those are good data points.
Yes.
Because that tells me, okay, well, 15 minutes of scrolling and watching videos was not good.
Exactly.
And I needed 7 minutes of cat videos or prank videos to, Keen gets a lot of my prank videos that I send him.
Yes.
But
Very
story of our
familiar with
relationship.
those, yeah.
But
the best.
You're the best. But the timing, right? So all of this is just information and it's not bad or it's not good. It's just, okay, 15 minutes of Instagram scrolling took me 7 minutes to bring my nervous system back down, of shutdown. And then how did I metabolize it? I actually ended up doing a little bit of a workout, and that was helpful. I wasn't thinking, I need to get this out of my body. It was just the natural, like, I need to lift some weights or something. So that's one thing that I would really invite in, is for us to all just start to recognize, what are my stages and how long am I in each stage of that process?
Yes, absolutely. And it makes me think about the pain-pleasure balance in the brain.
Right.
And
yes.
Yeah. So with this pain-pleasure balance, we're really just, our brain is always trying to kind of get to this homeostasis. And when there's a lot of pain, there needs to be pleasure.
Yes.
Right? And it's kind of something that people experience now with like going to the gym and working out, right?
Yes.
Our brain likes it when we're struggling, when we're pushing through something, when we have grit.
Yeah.
And the brain has that scale, right? And so when we push ourselves at the gym, or we exercise, or we climb the mountain, we get the pain to go up. But you ever notice that after the workout, you get a rush of pleasure,
Right.
a rush of feel good,
Right.
right? And those are the endorphins.
Right.
And so when we think about allowing ourselves to be in the grit, it's a better way of getting this pleasure than constantly just scrolling on TikTok or
Right.
Instagram or wherever you could get your videos.
AKA prank videos.
Prank
or
videos, cat videos,
Yeah.
hamster videos.
Hamster videos, yeah. Right.
But that's the thing is like a lot of us are getting this cheap dopamine.
Yeah.
This synthetic dopamine.
Yes.
And it makes us feel good. And one of the things we can do to be healthy is allowing ourselves to have those grit moments and allow the body to naturally bring in the pleasure.
In the here and the now, not so much based on my phone, not so much in an external source of dopamine.
Exactly. So going for that walk, right, is also the pressure release.
Yeah.
And that's why we see also with, addiction and, drinking and drugs and things like that, there's this rush of pleasure.
Right.
And so much. And it keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And then what does the brain do to compensate? A rush of pain, a rush of depression, a rush of feeling down, immobilization, paralyzation, right?
Right. We talk about the withdrawal effects too, right? When we think about the brain exceeding the amount of dopamine, right? And the levels of dopamine that we get with cocaine, the levels of dopamine that you get with sex, the levels of dopamine you get with meth, right? Those are really, really big hits that are shocking for the system, where the system then has to flip, right? It has to, there's a come down.
Yes.
And I think that's
the
exactly what we're
homeostasis.
talking about. There's a come down to go back to the homeostasis because we've depleted so much of those endorphins or right, that euphoric experience.
1,000%. And I think I just want to encourage everybody to have compassion for yourself as you're going through this really difficult time. Whether you've been personally affected by being connected to the victims of these horrible tragedies happening around and what's happening in Minneapolis, and if you've been thinking about how do I numb out and how do I shut down and how do I disconnect, I would encourage you to recognize, what does my nervous system have a tolerance for? And how can I connect in a way that allows me to stay awake and alert when sometimes in the past, maybe for survival purposes, I've had to shut down, I've had to dissociate, right? And allowing myself to be awake. What can I learn from that process? How can I get to the deeper parts of myself, my soul, right? My heart, and understanding those wounds that come out, and also allowing for that homeostasis to be there, right? And allowing for collected community, right? Reaching out to friends and family members and people, anyone in your community, anyone that you can talk to about what your internal experience is without fear, without having to numb or shut down or disconnect, but really allowing for that openness to happen. And I think one thing that's very important is that we heal in community. We do not heal individually in the same way we do in community with one another. And so during this time, right, it's really important to surround yourself with people that are having similar internal experiences, to voice those experiences, to allow those experiences to breathe. Yeah,
to live in the room, to live in the shared spaces.
Yes.
One of the things that you mentioned is to be witnessed, right? To be witnessed in allowing this shape of the pain to come out. And I think what I'm hearing too in that is that's a way that you're allowing your nervous system to metabolize the pain, right? So we can metabolize the pain by taking your body out and seeking movement. You're metabolizing the pain by meeting in community and talking about this and having shared expressions about what's happening. Maybe that's attending a protest, right? Maybe that's making signs for a protest. How do you let this live outside of you?
Mobilizing, right? We talked about earlier in the episode. Anger is your body's way of doing that. It's saying we need to mobilize, we need to move, we need to do something, right? And really trusting in that emotional expression, right? And we see emotions in a very black and white way sometimes. And I think it's important to remember that if you've been in situations where the only emotions that have been allowed to exist are positive ones, you may find yourself trying to drown out the negative ones. And that is what we don't want to do. We want to allow space for the rage, the anger, the grief, the disbelief. These things that we are told are dysregulating, these things that we are told that need to be fixed or corrected, or that they're bad.
Put them away.
And the thing is that when you're around people that can hold those emotions and can mirror them back to you and say, this is real, this is your lived experience, and reflect back your reality to you, you allow for healing for that in your body. You allow for those emotions to be held. And oftentimes we don't have access to that. And so I would just encourage you to talk about it, you know, reach out to people, do a temperature check. Think about like, what do I feel? What does my nervous system feel around this person? And then dial into that and really trusting, again, being connected to your nervous system, trusting these instincts, not shutting down, not dissociating, not disconnecting. Just because other people are doing it doesn't mean you have to. Again, it's all about the tolerance of discomfort in your own body, not theirs.
Wow, I'm just thinking about kind of summarizing everything that we talked about today. And I think, one, I just want to invite, your wisdom to come from yourself. Right? I think that's so much of what we're talking about is that you are going to be the expert of your own body. And the hope is that the more we talk about these things, the more you can understand the roadmap within your body so that you have a Google Maps and a navigation system to navigate the barometer within. And it's not something that's happening that's disconnected from you, but that you're more connected to it. So as each episode progresses, I hope that you become more connected to yourself as we've become more connected to ourselves, and kind of in our special bond of being those witnesses for each other over the years, and recognizing what safety looks like and what safety doesn't look like, and you know, in our own recognition of this journey. So I want to say thank you for everyone that's out there, and find your fight. We will list some resources available for you as well at the bottom, linked in our podcast. So if those of you are looking at different maybe agencies that you can support or families that you can support, we will have any resources that we can find available for the different groups of you all that are looking to support or to fight in different ways. There's a lot of communities that are developing right now as we speak. So look forward to navigating this journey with you and with ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. Until next time. We'll see you for our next episode.
All right, take care.